Are shandies making a comeback, and is Jeremy Clarkson the man to do it? We're about to find out. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm taking a look at this very petite can of something called Diddly Squat Farm alcoholic ginger beer, rocking in at a massive 2.2%. Now, for those of you vaguely interested in just streaming content, farming or cars will probably know that what this is and where it's come from, and that this is in theory a product by his one and only Clarksonness, but I do have some doubts. We'll get into that in a minute. But it is effectively a shandy. It's called alcoholic ginger beer, but if we flip the can around, it comes from somebody called the Shandy Shack and is a ginger beer shandy pairing fiery ginger root with a deliciously malty pale ale. I probably should have said ginger root as one thing, not ginger root, but you get the idea. It's a pale ale with some ginger in it, and it's not very strong, 2.2%. As I say, this is branded as if it comes from Clarkson's farm called Diddly Squat, but I am starting to wonder whether there's Diddly Squat of Clarkson's farm actually in it. The reason I say that isn't because I don't trust them inherently. I've actually had quite a few products from Clarkson's farm and they've been excellent. I've got no reason to believe, just based on face value, that this won't be the same. But hear me out here. It is made in collaboration, or effectively by, somebody called Shandy Shack. And that's fine in that it's a collaboration, but of course Clarkson has his own brewery in Hawkston. What was the Cotswold Brewery, but anyway, he's got his own brewing place. So why is this beer not part of that? There are two flavours in this series of these Diddly Squat Farm kind of shandies. There is this one, the ginger beer, and there is an elderflower lager top. Doesn't sound like my cup of tea, if I'm honest, but anyway, those are the two. And on Diddly Squat's website, there is one product for both products, as in there's one product entry, and you choose on that product entry whether you want the elderflower lager or the ginger beer. And in the description, it's got the description of both beers as a result, because it's one page. And the elderflower description does say the elderflower has been picked from the hedgerows around Diddly Squat. Fair enough. The ginger says nothing about that. So I'm not saying it's not from there, but they've not said that it is, and I find that unusual because they're normally very upfront about what they have and haven't made. Adding to that, I then went on Shandy Shack's website, which, well, they do lots of flavours. They do a ginger beer and they do an elderflower top lager. Now, I have no doubt that the people at Diddly Squat have probably tried the Shandy Shack ones, gone, that works, we'll give you the goods, and then you can just remake the same recipe with our stuff and then we can put our name on it. That's probably what's happened, but I would like to know for sure, and they've not told me. But anyway, you want to know if it's any good. To find that out, we just need to pour it out. Now, this glass from Black Isle has not been seen on the channel for years, I think, at this point, but I don't have many nice 330ml glasses. This is one of my favourites, so if it's not the cleanest, I do apologise, but let us get into it. So just before I do crack it open, a closer look at the can. I mean, it's nice. It's got the tractor on there with flames coming out of the exhaust at the top. On the back, it's got that just bit of information. It's got the Shandy Shack logo. It's won a Good Taste Award, and it's got some other bits of info, like it's 2.2%, that's gluten-free. There's 0.7 units in this can, which makes it good if you don't want to drink a lot. Get back onto that in a minute. But anyway, let's break into this can. It pours quite thin, if we're honest. Probably not a surprise given the ABV. As it comes out, it almost looks like a light rosé, but in the glass, much more golden, much more proper pale ale. Let me turn it to the side so you can see it for real there. A little bit of haze on it in front of the studio lighting for you, much more golden and dark hued. It looks like proper beer. The head on it, okay, it's got a slightly thick air bubble head going on. It's probably gonna not last very long, but it's 2.2%. Don't really expect much more from that, and well, it's just not got the body basically is what I'm saying. But yeah, it looks the business, so thumbs up there. Aroma wise, instantly hit with the ginger, which I'm a big fan of. I actually really like ginger beer, and I like over the top ginger beer. Quite often tends to be traditional breweries. You go to a beer festival and they will put on a ginger beer, a ginger pale, a ginger golden, whatever, and it's just their generic, often not that great, pale ale or golden ale with just a little bit of ginger tickling around at the back of the tongue. And well, I kind of wish I hadn't bothered. This though, straight up on the aroma, it's got that big, spritzy, fiery heat of ginger, which I like. This is an adjunct beer all day long. This isn't the traditionalist beer connoisseur effort, but I do really like a ginger beer, so I'm probably going to dig this quite a bit regardless. So let's give it a go, shall we? Is there anything else on the aroma? Bit of a grassy hop note potentially, but it's hard to tell whether that's just a bit of extra complexity in the ginger itself. A lot of sweetness. It's heat and sweet is really all we're getting. We could argue that we can smell some malt, we could argue that we can smell some hop, but equally they could just be other aspect of the ginger. So let's get into it, shall we? Cheers. Okay, yeah, fiery, warm, refreshing, biscuity, annoyingly good. I say annoyingly good for a couple of reasons, but I'm going to try and give you the full experience, and then I'm going to break down why on multiple levels I find it slightly irritating. But anyway, so top to bottom taste test, right on the tip of the tongue. Sweet, little bit of heat, very prickly candied ginger, very distinctive, hyper sweetened, really possibly too sweet if I'm honest, but it's nice. There's no getting away from it. It is very nice. Not a lot of beer, all about the ginger. Absolutely fine with that. A touch of lemonade, I want to say, coming through. Whether it is a shandy in the traditional sense cut with lemonade, I don't know, but it does feel like there is a very sweet lemonade finish to it. Then mid palate, it's more raw kind of, you know, root ginger, the real deal, fresh off the shelf or fresh out the ground. It's earthy slightly, tiny bit bitter, not a lot to say about it. Very common in lower ABV beers and beers that just don't have a lot of body. That mid palate, there's not a lot to talk about. It kind of just passes over and the taste buds there just don't have a chance to cling on to an awful lot. That is all I'm getting. Back of the tongue, kick back in with a bit of sweetness, not as much as it was on the front of the palate, but a bit more heat, a bit more fire. It's not a spicy ginger beer, but it's also not too dulled down either. Definitely full ginger character in there. And the aftertaste is, well, full of ginger character, softened off, and incredibly refreshing. There was a risk right at the front there with how sweet it was that as you swallowed it, it was going to go, it's kind of refreshing, but then actually just kind of sticks around and the sugar cloys to things and actually you end up feeling not that refreshed. Not the case. I'm not going to say it's not doing it at all, but it's not doing it enough to really bother me. That's the thing that can happen with a ginger beer, especially a really sweet one, and it's not happening right now. So it is a proper thirst quencher as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, you get the idea. It's a damn good beer if it's really a beer and it's not just an alcoholic fruited beverage, or, well, it's not a fruit, is it, ginger? But you get what I mean. It's a concoction. It's not straight down the line serious beer, but not always a bad thing. And that leads us into the reasons why I'm kind of annoyed. First off, I'm going to say I'm annoyed at myself. I've had this for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I've been putting it off because I have been never in the mood for a 2.2% beer. That is the truth of it. I have quite frequently in recent weeks been in the mood for no beer whatsoever. And then when I am in the mood for the beer, to be fair, I've not been gravitating towards strong things recently, but they're very much the 5 to 5.5% range is where my mind goes straight out of the bat. Not really bothered about the halfway house. But that's a me problem. That was my bad. I should have opened it before, reviewed it a long time ago, because it is excellent. Another reason I'm annoyed though is because I've been saying for a while that whilst I understand the need for low and no alcohol beer, and I'm not one of these people that goes, it's pointless, get rid of it. I mean, I might have said it in the past, but you know what I mean. I've come around to terms, and I get it. Some people just don't like alcohol full stop, and it's great for them. Some people want the flavour and the experience, but then need to drive or just be entirely coherent. That is a good use for them. Me personally, tend not to bother. Might have one, but really tend not to bother. But overall, if we're going for the just let's make it a healthier thing, I've very much been in the grounds of like I want a low ABV beer, not a no ABV. When I say low, I don't mean 0.5, I mean 1.5 to 3%. This sits right in that wheelhouse, and yet again, I found myself not drinking it, and I've realised it goes back to the same issue. Part of it is a drinking culture space in the UK thing. I think we need to get our heads around, me included. But another part of it is I see it and go, well, I can have that if I think I might need to drive. But then I personally do not have the drink and then drive. It's a me thing. I'm not judging anyone else. Obviously, we're talking about within the limits. If you're going over the limit, consider yourself judged. But yeah, the limit is there, and it's quite high in the UK relative to a lot of other places. And I just don't fancy the risk. Personally, I've had it on more than one occasion where a beer is definitely stronger than what it says on the label. Anyway, put it that way and leave it there. So as a result, if I know I've got to drive, I'm simply in the mindset of I'm not having a beer, which then starts to lead into problems as to where this sits. But as I sit here now, I can think of several occasions over the summer where I've kind of made this, it's a weekend, I fancy a beer, but I don't want to drink a lot, or maybe I'll have one later, end up not bothering or whatever. And actually, this would have been the perfect antidote to that kind of situation where I'm trying not to indulge, but I fancy a more sophisticated beverage. And, well, yeah, this one's been sat in my fridge, as I say, for months, and I could have just gone and grabbed it, and I didn't. So I'm annoyed on that front. Both of which are me problems, really. Some of it's social norm stuff, but yeah, mostly on me. The third reason that I am very, very annoyed about this is the price. So, if you go on the Diddley Farm Shop website, they have reduced the 12 packs of these down to like £28, which makes them £2 something a can. It's slightly pricey for a 2%er, but given that it's got their branding on it and whatever, we can go, yeah, all right. If you go straight to the Shandy Shack and buy what might be a very similar product, we won't know until we try them side by side. You can get them for a couple of quid less, again, per 12 pack, brings it down to about spot on £2 a can, £2.05p or something. This, though, was a single can. And the only place I've ever seen it for sale as a single can is in the farm shop down the road from me that I featured in the last video. I can't remember specifically, but it was in the region, if not in excess of £5 a can, which, let's be honest, is grotesque. Now look, it is no secret that I am willing to pay for quality and things I deem to be worth it. Look at the damn shelves behind me. But this is a casual drink, right? This is not we've made a nuanced special occasion beverage. This is, why don't you replace your 5 to 6% lager with something a little bit more chill, a little bit more sophisticated, a bit more refreshing for the summer months. This is the Pimm's of beer in my mind. That's where it sits. It's a little bit more relaxed. It's a little bit more fruity than going just all out and having a full wine. But yeah, it's definitely not special enough. It's lovely, but expecting £5 a can for it's a nice, sophisticated adult drink that replaces me having to drink a Diet Coke is frankly absurd. So there you have it. I think this is lovely, and actually if you like ginger beer, as I do, buying a 12 pack might not be completely out of the realms of, well, just excess. It's probably reasonable, or at least half reasonable, especially in the warmer months. You've not got many of those left now, so get them in your order in now if you do. But I'm tempted, honestly, I'm tempted, because I will really begrudge walking past that in my local farm shop every time I go in, going, I want one, but I don't want to pay that for it. So maybe a bulk order for me will be worth it, and it's fantastic. And I know that in other parts of the world, in other farm shops, it is available at a much lower price, because actually I've got 2 cans of this. My good friend Sam, who's been on the channel before, lives near Diddley Squat, or at least in the same county, and well, a lot of their shops, of course, have stocked their things, and he bought me a can, and I said, do you mind me asking how much you paid for this? Because down the road, it's a £5 a can. He said, it definitely wasn't that. I think it was about £3. So, look, it's out there at a reasonable price if you can find it. Don't pay a £5 for it. But if you like proper fiery ginger beer that's just a bit more chill and not maybe focused on the booze as it is the flavour of the ingredients, it really is not a bad shout. That is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you'll be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.